No. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shashurunmilitam Yena
Tasmai
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, thank you. So, just to tell the meaning, I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. And Himalji, just for you, I think I kept it Devanagari also, because last time you said it should be in Devanagari too.
Yeah, thank you.
मैं घोर अज्ञान के अंधकार में उत्पन्न हुआ था और मेरे गुरु ने अपने ज्ञान रूपी प्रकाश से मेरी आंखें खोल दी. मैं उन्हें सादर नमस्कार करता हूँ. So I hope you understand, right? The reason for keeping it in English is so that people from all part of the world can understand it, right? Now, we are an international society, and everybody is a soul, whether they are born in Pakistan or UAE or Nigeria.
I think you all karna these paintings, the light and everything here also.
Arditi, are you saying something to me or no? Okay.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. You can turn on the camera, and that way you'll be able to focus. Okay.
Actually, here Gnananjana is there. Right, Nirendraji. In English, we cannot get the difference. Gnana plus Anjana. But in Devanagari Lipi, we can get that clearly. I
know actually. So I will show you, like, if you don't have the Bhagavad Gita that is there of, like, Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? It has both English and Hindi.
Yes.
And I personally find English to be simpler, and the reason is they have done the Viched. There's something called as Sandhi Viched, right? The dividing these two words, a longer word, into shorter things, and they have done it in English. Okay, the Hindi ones are longer. Like here you see Jnananjan Shalakaya. These are two words in English, and here it's Jnananjan Shalakaya as a one word in Hindi, right? So if you're reading, it might be simpler to be able to read smaller words at times. I mean, it's just a matter of getting used to it. But once you get used to it, you'll realize that, oh, this English is easier to read. That's all, nothing else. I mean, I'm a North Indian, like pretty conversant with Hindi and Sanskrit. But just that thing helps. Having shorter words help. But nonetheless, so we'll recite few more things today. I mean, nothing new. So this one we talked about. Let's recite. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Do you want to recite with me?
Yeah.
Jai Shri. Yeah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhar.
Shri Advaita Gadadhar.
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Shivasadi Gaur.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Shri Advait Gadadhar Pandit, Srivasa Thakur, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So I'll explain this, who are these people, maybe sometime. But just, I think last time also I mentioned, just to explain this whole thing, is like, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra was propagated by these great personalities, and just so that, and as I said, like, we respect everybody, like, anybody who takes God's name should be respected in an utmost way. Okay, that way, right? Because a Vaishnava is supposed to be respected. So that is one way to understand it. There is other way to understand it, this whole thing, and I'll explain that in some time. Okay, but nonetheless, and then let's chant this together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very nice. Okay, how many of you started chanting? Okay, one. Okay, one only. 2, 3. Okay, great. 4. Okay. Who else? Atikesh, I don't see your hand.
No, Prabhuji, I don't actually.
Why not?
I'm like, I don't get time to do that.
Oh, okay. The usual thing. It just takes 5 minutes. I can tell you this much. Okay. While your mother is chanting, you can just join her in the morning, right? It just takes 5 minutes, nothing more than that. I can tell you.
Yeah, I just sit beside her and do my work. Actually, that's it. I
Yeah,
just
but
see
24.
how does she do it. I'm just
Yeah,
watching
but
her.
seeing doesn't cut it, right? I mean, if you see somebody eating, it doesn't make you feel nourished, right? So you need to do
Yeah,
that. Act.
yeah,
Just don't watch it. So I mean,
yeah.
5 minutes
Okay,
out of 24 hours. I mean, I don't know what to say, but difficult for me to buy that. Up to you. But my strong suggestion is this knowledge makes more sense if done with a practice also. Okay. Uh,
okay,
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll wait. I mean, next time tomorrow when we meet, I think I want to hear that you have done at least once. Okay.
okay, Prabhuji.
All right. Thank you. Aarti ji, what about you? Did you got a chance to start the chanting?
Yeah. So first week was very good.
Okay.
But last week I'm actually not regular, so that discipline is still not there. That's why I did not raise my hand.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
I
need
know.
to
I know that.
discipline myself and do it regularly without fail.
Yeah.
So I think unless that happens,
Yeah.
so
Understood.
really
Yeah, but
sorry.
actually, no, nothing to be sorry about. Actually, I'll just tell you, it's like, sometimes we don't realize the value of what, if something is very simple now, then we think that, no, it should be complicated. I mean, spiritual practice, something should be like very deep thing, right? I mean, yeah, I should have like a big beard or some matted hairs or something like that, go to Himalaya, then only I will get some benefit, right? But that is not necessarily true. Okay. Things can be simple and elegant and still make a difference. Like
Right.
name, right? I mean, the name of God are like extremely powerful. I'm telling you, like extremely powerful. Nothing can be as powerful as that. I mean, you read the scriptures, any scriptures, right? Think about Dhruv Maharaj. Think about Prahlad. Okay. Think about Valmiki. So many people. I mean, all of them. They just became great personality by taking God's name, by chanting some mantra which had God's name. That's all. That's all they did. Okay. I mean, and I have personally seen people. I'm telling you, like I'm not making it up. I mean, personal experience, and it is shocking sometimes. I mean, it's. I mean, because even though I tell people to do it, I am shocked looking at them after some time. How come this transformation people like totally change? I mean, they are like. Uh, they are way more intelligent than me. They have more knowledge than me. I mean, like, anybody, anyways, most of the people have more knowledge than me. But generally, you see, like, people, the intelligence that becomes extremely sharp, they become really good people. Okay. I mean, this mind of ours is like, I'm telling you, like 10%, you calm it down, you will see the magic happening in your life. I mean, in all the spheres, be it personal, professional, or spiritual, anything. I mean, all of that. It totally transforms. It totally changes you. So that will happen as soon as it. I mean, like, so that's all. That's why the request that try to do it. Anyways, I think we can talk more.
No,
But,
absolutely. And see, I actually do it when I'm working through the day. I recite this mantra,
okay.
but just before going to bed with the beads and all, I did it in the first week, but second week was pretty irregular.
Yeah, great.
So that's why I didn't
No,
raise my hand.
no, it's okay. I mean, yeah, and I
Just
understand.
need to regularize it and
Yeah.
just stick to the routine.
Right. Yeah, actually, that way, you have to find a sweet spot. Like, for example, I have my office starting from early, I mean, of course, 9 in the morning. I try to make sure that before that, I definitely do whatever sadhana I have to do. And that way, I'm peaceful, right? If I delay it after 9, I know that things can go any place. I mean, you never know what will happen. So better to have, I mean, if there's one more way to do it, and I'll tell you that secret sauce. Towards the end of the class. Okay, there's a simple thing, like, we have a small WhatsApp group. Okay, we have people, and when they complete their chanting every day, they just post it, all, nothing else, that I
Oh,
have
wow.
completed.
Okay.
Okay, and that works like wonders, because
Yeah.
you get to see people. I mean, like, and it inspires you. Oh, somebody just did it like 5 a.m. in the morning, and you will see, like, by 6:30, most of the people have done it. okay, and it's magical. Oh wow! I mean, like, I should also do it types, right? It just motivates. Nothing else is expected, but that simple trick has helped a lot of people. Okay, so just post it there. There's no formal, no, in no scriptures it is written that you should post your that I'm done with the chanting after in the WhatsApp group, but that small trick has kept us in some discipline. In fact.
So we can start with it in our group.
No, I'll post. I'll add you to the group. I mean, anybody who's interested, let me know. I will add you to.
No, I'm interested.
Okay, great.
Because when you are accountable to someone, it's not accountability, but just out of that sense of accountability helps.
Correct.
You do it.
Right. Yes. I'll add. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So let's start with today's discussion. I know.
Niranji, how many times it needs to be chanted?
If you have a bead, a tulsi bead or something similar, then it has 108 beads into it, right? And you can chant one mala with that, like this whole thing as one mantra, and then like that 108 times. If you can do more than that, you can do it any number of times. Is okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, but at least one mala should be done. Right, minimum to begin with. Okay, so let's talk about today. So today, planning to talk about and that I posted, right, between material world and spiritual world. What is substance and what is shadow? What is real and what is not real? Okay, so this verse comes in Bhagavad Gita, and I'm just changing the pattern today. We'll start from my slides and then we'll go to discover yourself slide. So this is the verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Advashakam Ashvatham Prahuravyayam Chadamshi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. So this is the meaning, the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Bhagwan ne kaha, Bhagwan said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree. Okay, there's a banyan tree which is imperishable, that has its root upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Very cryptic, right? Or can anyone tell me what this means? Have you ever seen a tree which has its root upwards and its branches down?
I mean, it is the shadow in the water.
Yeah. Right. Only in the water you see that, right? That where the branches are down and the roots are upwards, right? And one who knows this tree is the knower of Vedas. Okay. If you are able to understand, if you are able to solve this puzzle, then you actually know all the Vedas. This is what is said here. Okay. Just by knowing about this tree, that is good enough. And that's a interesting riddle to solve. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let me project today's slide. Okay. And if by the end of the session, if you don't get it, let me know, and I will, of course, we can spend more time. But let me project today's slide. And without much ado, I know we are late, and so we'll not. I'll leave you with this riddle. But of course, as Shivaliji, as you said, right, that only in the water we can see this image, right? So there is something which is real, and there is something which is not so real, right? There is something substance, and then there is a shadow, right? What we see around us. That is what Krishna is saying in 15.1 Bhagavad Gita, right? So okay, so today we'll talk about the happy planet. Okay, now where is that happy planet, and where every moment is a festival? Okay, so let's talk about it. And we'll talk about these things, but when we talk about it, we'll reach there. So first, before we talk about substance, we need to understand the shadow. All right. So essentially, I mean, if I ask anybody, right, how are you? The general answer is that I'm happy, right? I'm good. Things are fine, things like that. But are they really fine? I mean, just think yourself, right? Are you really happy? Okay. I don't like, you can, because something or the other in our life actually keeps on bothering us. It could be our boss, our maid, our mosquito, or anything, right? Our something or the other keeps on bothering us all the time, right? So this is, and we have just learned to be okay with that. We have assumed that no, things are supposed to be like this. Whatever they are, it cannot be better than that, right? Like kabhi khushi kabhi gum, it's always going to be like that. You'll be happy sometimes and not so happy sometimes. But is there something absolute than that? Like we try to understand. But anyways, like so if you see, this world is like this. Like everything is temporary. I mean, if you look at the body of the beauty queen, I mean, in the youth, of course, they could make men go crazy, but when they are dried up in the old age, they are like grapes turned into raisins. I mean, so essentially, then nobody will like to be with them, right? I mean, this is the reality of this world, pretty much. No matter whether we like it, we don't like it, but this is the world. It is temporary. I mean, and everything is temporary that way. I mean, even if you get some happiness, even that is temporary. Even if you get some misery, that is temporary, right? Everything is temporary. So which is weird, right? So if a person even says that, oh, I'm completely happy, we should ask him, right? Oh, how long? I mean, let's see, right? How long is it going to be? So that's how it is. I mean, so but why can't it remain permanent? That question should be asked, right? Because see, as a person, we want things to be permanent. We really want that things are always the way they are, right? We always want to be happy, and we want the happiness to be absolute. Okay, and we do not want to die. We always want to live. So where are these feelings coming from? Okay, they are coming from the soul, which is actually Satchidanand, right? A Sat, Chit, and Anand, right? Sat meaning eternal, okay. Chit meaning knowledge, and Anand means the bliss, the happiness. So the soul, these are the three qualities of the soul, and because of which, because we are soul, we assume that this is how it should be. We want things to be like that, okay. But because we are in a material world, in this world which is made up of matter, and where matter is not permanent, okay, so we experience things which we are not able to explain. Like none of us want to die, and we think that we are all going to live forever, right? And that feeling is coming from we being a soul. Vedanta Sutra has a verse which says Anandamaya Bhyasat. What it means is that we are sort of pleasure seeking. We are as a soul, we are pleasure seeking, and we want that pleasure to be there always. I mean, this is what it means. But in this world, we don't get it, right? So so essentially, the problem is that we started thinking, like when as a soul, we started identifying ourselves with this material world, with this matter, and we thought that this matter is supposed to be real, right? But the problem is this matter is not the real thing. It is just a temporary thing which keeps on changing, and as a soul, we keep on getting frustrated because of this. So this is the source of all of our frustration, a lot of our frustration, right? A person that we love, we think that they'll be forever, but that doesn't happen. A car that we have, we want it to be always with us, or things like that, right? The phone and stuff like that. A lot of this frustration comes from interacting with matter which we are not used to. We are used to having permanent things. One small request: if you can all turn on your camera, that will really help me, encourage me, and give me the sense of what's going on here. Okay. All right. So, so there is a story of liquid beauty. Let me tell you. We don't have a lot of time. So there was a girl called, you can call it anything, Sweetie. Okay. So that Sweetie was actually a very beautiful girl. And then a person who actually used to, like, there was a person who was after her, like, why don't marry me, and things like that. She was never ready to marry. Then one day Sweetie said that, okay, you come to my house in 7 days and I will marry. Okay. So he said, okay, great. And then what this Sweetie did is that she actually took a lot of laxatives and things like that. And because of which she started vomiting and had a lot of stool, like, loose motions and things like that. And what she did is she collected all of that in a pot, okay, and kept it. Okay, it's not supposed to be a very ugly story, but just to tell you. And then what happened is when this guy, when he came after 7 days and met Sweetie, then Sweetie was looking very thin and frail and in a very diseased type of state. So this person, he didn't like that look of Sweetie, and he said, okay, where is Sweetie? She said, I am that girl. So he said, no, no, it is not possible. She's a beautiful girl, right? So she said, no, I've kept all my beauty in a container. Why don't you come to me and I will show you? And he went inside and he saw all that stool and urine, whatever it was, right? And she was like, and he was really confused. And then that girl explained, see, the whatever you see, that beauty is actually the external, right? I mean, this is just the beauty that we see in our body is just a inch deep. I mean, like, you just take out the skin and all you will see is something that you will not appreciate. And this is not real. I mean, we run after this whole thing just to keep ourselves beautiful, just to keep ourselves so that people can appreciate. But this appreciation is not for long, and this body is not for long, right? After few years, maybe next 20, 30, 40 years, this body will not be as attractive as it is, right? So it is better to focus on the substance. Unfortunately, we don't have any supermarket, any beauty shop which actually focuses on the substance. It is all about shadows, right? It is all about this material body that we care about, right? So we should actually do some things also to nourish the soul, to focus on that eternal thing. And this is not eternal, what we are seeing. I hope it made sense, or it was not scary, but this is just the truth, whatever it is, right? Okay, so that is okay. The situation with this world. So lesson to understand is that, like, the beauty of the material body is just fleeting. I mean, it will just go away, right? Real beauty is in that spiritual spark. That soul has the real beauty. I mean, the beauty that we get also is coming from the soul. So we should get attracted, like, I mean, we should not forget the goal of life by just focusing on this spark. In fact, the spark word reminds me of another story. So there's the founder of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so that he actually traveled all over the world to spread bhakti. So while he was in New York once, he landed from the flight, and there were like lot of people who were waiting. Lot of his disciples were waiting. All of them Americans, most of them Americans. They were waiting in the airport to receive him. Okay, and there were some new people also. I mean, like new people who have never met him, but they've just heard about him. They have just they just started coming to the temple initially. They don't know much. So there were one such boy standing there, and there were air hostesses coming, and they were like beautiful air hostesses. And this person was, suddenly got hooked on to watching them. So he started watching those air hostesses, and suddenly from his behind, he heard a voice, "Beautiful, isn't she?" And he turned around, he saw Srila Prabhupada was standing there, and now he didn't know how to react. I mean, yes or no, what to say. So, Prabhupada said, yeah, of course they are beautiful, right? But what do you think? Like, just think about it. If the spark is so beautiful, what do you think? How do you think how beautiful the real whole would have been, right? I mean, so the reality is just like, we as a soul are just a spark, but the God is actually the complete source of this whole beauty, of this whole magnanimity, right? I mean, like, just imagine what level of beauty would be there in the God, in the spiritual world, in things like that. They are the real things. I mean, like, our soul is the real thing, but what we see around us, they are mostly not the reality. Okay, they are shadows around us, and we actually, unfortunately, we just get attracted to shadow. Have you ever seen when we were child, and if a TV would come to our house, it would come in a thermocol box, right? And then as a child, we didn't used to bother about TV that much maybe, but we would want that thermocol box so that we can play with that box, right? And but we know, right now we know that thermocol box is not the real thing. I mean, it'll break and it'll get thrown away, but that's not the real stuff. The real stuff is that TV, right? Which is the attractive part of the whole thing, right? And that is what the situation is. Like, we got attracted to things around us which are not real. Okay, the reality is something else. It is beyond this thing. Okay, does it make sense, or I'm just going too high, too up, too all over the place? I hope it makes sense, right? All right, great. So we move ahead. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, right, that like generally around us, people, we see that they get attracted to the outward beauty, and not to the spiritual spark, which is both truth and beauty at the same time. Yeah, right. Okay. And yeah, so this is how the reality is. Like, our material body, they belong to the material world. This body, as I said, and it is perishable and it is pain producing. I mean, all the pain that we feel, all the ignorance, as I said, the soul is Sat Chit Anand, which is Sat means eternality, Chit means knowledge, and Anand is the bliss, right? But what we see here in this world is the totally opposite. Things are not eternal. We are in ignorance. We don't know everything, and we are actually not in bliss. We feel a lot of pain and miseries, right? And that is because of our interaction of soul with the material world. Okay, and it's simple, no rocket science. But spiritual body that we have is permanent. That as a soul, we have a permanent body which is full of knowledge and full of bliss, right? And the spirit soul, it belongs to a place called spiritual world. Now, what does it mean? I mean, I've never heard in any Sanskrit verse something called a spiritual world. So you must have heard about something called as Vaikuntha, right? Do you know what does that mean? Anybody knows what does Vaikuntha means?
Place where
Is basically
Lord Vishnu lives.
Vishnu's abode.
Okay.
That's called Vaikuntha, right? Vishnu's abode.
But
Lord Vishnu.
but it's more than that, actually. Yeah. So Vai means without, Kunt means misery. Okay. So it's a place without misery. That is the meaning of Vaikuntha. And Vaikuntha is not a small time place. If this entire creation is divided into 4 parts, then 3/4 part actually is Vaikuntha. Okay. And 1/4 is all the universes, and there are more than one universes. All of them actually are just 1/4 of the creation. So, and it has multiple planets. The Vaikuntha has multiple planets. I don't know if you have ever heard of a place called Saket Dham. That is where Lord Ramchandra lives. Okay. And there is a place called Golok Vrindavan. That is the place where Krishna lives. And there are many such planets. Okay. And it's a huge place. I mean, huge meaning, as I said, like 3/4 of this entire creation, where 1/4 means multiple universes. Just try to figure out from your mind. It's difficult to understand. But that is the place where all these personalities really live. I mean, as per scriptures. Okay. So we talk about it. Yeah. Anything in between? Anything you want to know? All right. So we go further. So yeah, this was the verse I was talking about, right? Urdhva Moolam Adho Shakam. So this material world is compared to upside down banyan tree, right? And the banyan tree, if it is upside down, and the spiritual world is the actual tree, right? That is the real tree. This is what Krishna says, that if you understand this part, then you know the entire Vedas. Then you have the proper knowledge. Okay. Then nothing else is there to be known. If you understand that this material world is not the real thing. Okay. And if you understand that the spiritual world is the real thing, right? And why it says that the leaves are like Vedas, are the Vedic hymns, because the Vedic hymns are the one which give us the path. They tell us what is the reality. Okay. Using which you can really be able to see this tree. Okay. So that is what it is. 15.1 to 15.56 is very interesting set of verses, fairly deep. But just to tell you, is like, this is what essentially it means, right? This first verse, high level, right? That the real reality is the spiritual world and the spirit soul that we are. So the focus should be directed into something real, not into something which is illusion. Now that doesn't mean this is not a real thing, right? But it is temporary. Okay. And that is permanent. That's what it means. So don't mistake it when I say that it's not real. It's not real. It is not a dream. It is real, but it is temporary. Right? So what would you focus on, right? You would focus not on the thermocol, but you would rather focus on the TV within it. Like the main thing, the main thing which matters, because our home, like, think about it. When we are outside, then we have so much craving to come to our home. Okay, and this home is going to be with us for maybe next 60-70 years, right? But that is the eternal home. Okay, what level of comfort will it offer? We cannot even imagine, right? So okay, so as I said, yeah, what we have. So when the soul comes from the spiritual world, it is scriptures say that it is given a bija form. Okay, a bija is like, you know, a small seed like form. Okay, which is 1/10,000 the tip of a hair. Okay, and that form, that level of form it is given, and then it is put into a material body. Like, think of it like a VR kit, a virtual reality kit that is put on top of that person. So like that. But in the spiritual world, all of these soul have a proper body. Okay, a proper person like body, and the body that we have right now is like a bad copy of that spiritual body. Okay, right, like a real marble versus a fake marble, right? Or a real currency versus the fake currency, or a real mango versus the fake mango, or the spiritual beauty versus the material beauty, right? So where the spiritual beauty is eternal and blissful, but the material beauty is it's temporary, right? Couple of uh, couple of decades, and that's all, it's gone, right? So yeah, so material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Like, some people say that, I don't know if you have heard it, but oh, our gods look like human because we are humans, so we have made God look like us. But no, that is not the case. It's the other way around. Bible says that God made man in his own image. Okay, not man made God with his image, in his image, right? So that is not what it is. We look like this as a, it's a perverted reflection. This world is a perverted reflection. What it means is everything gets perverted here. I mean, when I say it's a reflection, things like love, it becomes like a lust here. Okay, like a real friendship here becomes something where people just want to do things for the sake of getting something out of others, things like that. Like, you know, all the emotions, everything, they just get perverted, which have real thing in the spiritual world. That is how the scriptures explain it. That is how that upside down banyan tree, that's what roughly it translates to. Now let's talk about blissful spiritual world, right? How that spiritual world looks like. Yeah, let me show you some verses, and that will make some sense. Because what am I saying? Why am I saying this? Let me show you a bit of spiritual world. Okay, our scriptures, interestingly, like nobody, neither in Islam or Christianity, they talk a lot about spiritual world. They don't explain it. They just say kingdom of God or something like that, like something very abstract. But in Sanatan Dharma, in Hinduism, there is lot of description of spiritual world which is available. So let me go back to my slides, the slides that I showed in the past, and we'll try to see some verses. Yeah. So yeah, and some of these verses are from, this is coming from a book called Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita, what is Brahma Samhita? So Brahmaji, I don't know if you have heard this Krishna's pastime, and Brahmaji actually stole all the cowherd boys and the cows and everybody and hid them. And then finally Brahmaji realized what happened. I mean, like, he realized that Krishna is God, and he did a prayer to Krishna at that time. And Brahma Samhita are those prayers, okay, where Brahmaji prayed to Krishna. Got it? So far, so good. I hope you know that story. If you don't know, I can forward. So this is this is what those verses, some of the verses of that are. I'll just quote them. Chintamani prakhar sadma sukalpa vriksha lakshaviteshu surabhira vipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shat sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatarvo Dhruma Bhumi Shinta Mai Ganmai Toyam Amritam Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanapi Vamshi Priya Sakhi Chidanandam Jyoti Paramapi Tad Aswadam Apicha Sayatra I'll skip some things so that, because it's a longer thing, but let me just recite this last one. Bhaje Shweta Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokamitiyam Vidam Shanta Sthiti Virla Charakatipaye. And this is from Bhagavad Gita. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So let me explain what do these verses mean. So this verse says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who's tending the cows, yielding all desires, in abodes built with spiritual gems. So he's explaining the spiritual world. He says, like, there are houses built of spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose tree. Purpose tree meaning a tree which can fulfill all the purposes. I mean, you ask a tree and it will give you everything. Always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Like hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis are around serving this person. This is what Brahmaji says. And then he says, I worship that transcendental seat known as Shwetadvip. Shwetadvip is a place, right, in Golok, in Vaikuntha, where as loving consorts, the Lakshmi, in their unalloyed spiritual essence, practice the amorous service to the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover. So all the Lakshmis are worshipping, they are actually serving Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree. Like, as I said, like, any tree is like a wish fulfilling tree, where the soil is the purpose gem. Okay, purpose gem meaning, like, a gem which can give you everything. Like, so soil is like that, and all water is nectar. Okay, this is how is he explaining. And then he says, every word is a song. Like, everything that they say it like a song. Like in the spiritual world, every gait is a dance. Like any movement that they do, it is like a dance. So it's like, just imagine that place, like, where the movement that they are doing is like a dance, or everything they say is like a song. The flute is the favorite attendant. Effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty. So basically, everything that you eat or everything around you is like enjoyable, and there are, like, every place is like there is lot of light which is coming from God's thing, but there is lot of light around everywhere. Okay, something like that he's explaining. Then again he says it, and in another verse he says, every word is a song, every movement is a dance. Okay, that's coming from the previous verse also. And where numberless milk cows always emit, so there are Surbhi cows which are like, give lot of milk. There is a transcendental ocean of milk. There is like a place is full of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time. So time is like, constant there. There is no like movement of time. There is no past, or like, everything is eternal. In that there is no time, so per se. Okay, wherever who is ever present and without past or future, and here is not subject to the quality of passing away, even with the space of half a moment. Like, there is nothing like, that before or after. Everything is eternal. Everything is happening all the time. It is difficult to understand because we are used to right now dealing with the time, but a timeless place where nobody gets old, or there are no impermanent things, we cannot imagine such world, right? But this is a world where everybody is happy all the time, and that realm is known as Goloka. Okay, only to a very few self-realized soul of the world. Like, only few people understand that is a real place which is called Golok. Okay. And there are many books which talk about it, basically. Like, for example, Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna says that supreme abode of mind, and this is focus that this is 15.6. The previous verse where we saw that there is a tree, inverted tree, was 15.1. Okay, so in after few verses he talks about his original thing, and he says that supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Why? Because there are so much of brightness there, because of which is coming from God himself, that there is no need for a sun or moon, and those who reach it never return to this material world. So it's just like a matter of reaching it there once. You don't want to come back. It is such a place, right? And Bhagavad Gita, in fact, at least talks about 15, 16 times about that spiritual world in different places. Bhagavad Gita, being a Upanishad, is not very explicit, but there are other books who actually talk about it in a very explicit way. Okay, just a glimpse of spiritual world. Does it make sense? Okay, all right. So that is what translates to this slide. Yeah, like, that spiritual world is a place where every word is a song, every walk is a dance, water is like nectar, all living beings are pure, and there is no old age, disease, or death. Like, it looks like a very good promise to have, too good to be true, but that's how it's supposed to be, right? And we're talking about, as I said, the original tree, no, not the shadow. And that is our eternal home, right? I mean, as I said, where we can get this unlimited, unending happiness. That's how it was supposed to be. So this is a good goal of life to have. That, okay, I really want to live my life in a better way, and at the end of my life, I want to go back to my eternal home. Because as per scriptures, even the common sense tells us that this is not a place to live. Right? There is something wrong which doesn't fit in. I mean, we are not able to relate to this world like that, right? I mean, think about it, or we can discuss if it doesn't make sense to you, right? But okay, the question that should come to our mind is, okay, but if it is so good to be true, why the soul came to this world? What was the reason, right? Because so essentially, okay, even before I go there, so essentially what happens is, like, and I talked about it also in the past, right? Let me explain that. Forget about this. We'll go first. Yeah. So, and I gave an example. Once I gave an example of a girl who wanted to cook on her own, right? Just look at this picture, right? A boy who wanted to drive on his own, right? He was sitting in his father's lap. He said, I also want to drive. Father said, yes, you can drive. I mean, like, but the boy said, no, I really want to be in control, right? I want the wheel to be like, because you are the one who's driving the car, who's moving the steering wheel and all those things. I want to be independent and want to do my own thing. And then this person said, okay, fine. I mean, he gave him a small car. For some time, he will drive the car, but of course, he will not be able to move fast, right? And then finally, he would want to come back to his father's lap and sit peacefully. And that is our situation. We came here because we wanted to enjoy. Okay, if you want to enjoy, then fine. Okay, I want my own freedom. See, in the spiritual world, it's God who's in the center. Okay, everybody serves him and they feel happiness by serving him. But if you want to be, and here in this world, it is the opposite. As I said, everything is opposite here. Here we want to be the center and we want to enjoy, right? And that is why we came here. And what Bhagavad Gita 15.1 verse that we saw says that, okay, that is the opposite. In fact, if you read another one or two verses in Bhagavad Gita, next two verses, it says that, okay, you have to actually cut this tree. You have to understand that this is not a reality, and you have to cut it by using two things. It says by Gyan and Vairagya. Okay, by knowledge and renunciation. But that will go too deeper. So I will not explain that. But basically, the point is that if you are able to understand that we have a wrong center, and if you are able to put the center in the right place, then we can pretty much go out of this world. That's all what it means in short. Okay, that's all those 5-6 verses in that chapter says, that if you're able to figure out that we have a wrong center, okay, and then we are out. That's all. That's good enough, right? So yeah, and that's what it is, right? The soul comes to this world because he's trying to imitate God for a while, until he realized that no, it's not his position to enjoy, because this enjoyment, proprietorship, controller is not for us. I mean, till you don't realize it, this world will keep on frustrating you. The more you try to control it, the more you get into trouble. The more you try to, like, this is how that whole thing is, right? It's normal. I mean, you try to control it, you'll see yourself. So we cannot even control our own body. We cannot even control our own job or our own girlfriend or whatever it is, right? I mean, no, we cannot do much about it. So come on, let's accept it. Okay, this is not our cup of tea. And after many births, people realize it, and the person who realize it, they attend the Discover Yourself, they do the chanting, and they go out like that. So I mean, just fun intended, but basically the point is, this is what scriptures say, that after many births, you realize this thing, that okay, I'm in a, this is not meant to be for me, like this is not for me. I'll not be able to enjoy it. It doesn't work like that. Right? So yeah, and this is our situation. If we are like a fish out of water, right? If you're fish out of water, then whatever you get, right? You are given whatever. I mean, a nice phone, a nice deo, a nice money, and lot of things. You will not feel happy about it, right? But you can be happy only when you go back to water, right? Because that's where the fish belongs to, and that is the thing with us also, right? That we belong to that place, and that is where we can be happy as a soul. We cannot be happy no matter what level of luxuries we get here, right? Okay, so that is where it is going to be happy. Does it make sense so far, or is it going too much above the head? I'm just talking too many weird things here.
It is making sense, Niranji. It's making good sense.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, RPG, any thoughts? Yes, okay. The camera, you are busy with something? There must be preparations or what's going on? Or generally busy? All right. So, yeah, as I said, soul can be only happy in the spiritual world, and not in this material world, no matter how much of comforts are to them. And that is the reality. I mean, we have all seen it. I mean, I don't think it's anything. Yeah, and okay, yeah, that's an interesting story. We are like a lost son of a billionaire father. I mean, like, you know, there's an interesting story here. Once a person, he had two sons. Okay, he was like a billionaire. His one son, the younger son, came once saying that, oh, I want to be a lone father. Like, you know, you give me my share, and I want to go and enjoy, or something like that. So his father said, fine, okay, you want to enjoy. Of course, he didn't like it, but he gave him the money, his part of money. So this person, he went out, he had a lot of fun, per se, whatever you call it, right? You know, he boozed, he danced, and all sort of things in a wild way. He just spent all the money. And when all the money was gone, he felt miserable, right? And nobody was ready to give him even something to eat also. So he started doing some menial jobs. Like, you know, he started, there's one person he reached out to. That person said, okay, I will give you some flour, and you have to feed the pigs out of it. Okay. So he started feeding the pigs with the flour, and whatever flour remains, he used to eat that. He did it for some time, and then he felt, come on, I mean, what am I doing? Right? My father is such a millionaire, and he has so much money. Even his servants are fed better than this. Let me go to my father, and I'll be ready to serve him, if not nothing else. Right? I'll ask him that give me a small job, and at least I'll get better food. So he went to his father, but when his father heard that outside the village this person has reached, so his father went with all the people. And of course, he made him wear lot good clothes and everything. And he said, come on, forget about it. Like, you know, I mean, you are my son, still my son. Doesn't matter whether you took the money or whatever it is. Right. And he treated him with lot of love and things. So that is our situation. We just wanted to come out, enjoy independently. And we tried, we had our time. We tried all possible things, how to enjoy. It didn't work out. That's where the situation is right now. Okay. And so, yeah. Anyways, I'll not go to that video. So yeah, the bottom line is you have to revive our eternal relationship with our Father to be truly happy, and that is where the happiness lies. Yeah, there is an interesting verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which says, "Yatha taror mool nishechanena tripyanti yatskanda bhujopashakha pranopahanasyathindriyanam tathaiva sarvahanam achyuteja." Okay, you must be wondering, why am I saying so many verses today? But we are going deeper into spirituality, right? And just taking help of scriptures. So what it says, yatha tvadur mool nishechanena. What it means is that, oh, if you want to water the trees, how do you water it? You don't water every leaf of the tree, right? What you do is you put water in the root of the tree. So just by putting water in the root of the tree, the entire tree get nourished, right? So the first word says, oh, yatha taror murmyeshe, like just by watering the root, everything get nourished. In the water, the tree get nourished. Similarly, it says, Tripyanti yat skanda bhujopashakha. Like, so pranopahanas yathi indriyanam. So basically what it means is, oh, if you eat food, if you eat in the stomach, then the entire body get nourished, right? So just by giving food to the stomach, the entire body get nourished. Similarly, it says, Tathaiva sarvahanam achyuteja. So all the soul, they get nourished by serving the God. Okay, everybody. I think I gave example of Shvetashwar Upanishad, one more verse I talked about once, where I said, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhati Kaman. Like there is one soul and there are many souls, but all the other souls, they actually serve that soul. Okay, so God is also a spirit. We are also a spirit. We are just very tiny spirits, and God is like a infinite, and we are just infinitesimal. That is the difference. Okay, so just by serving that one person, we all get nourished, and that is what this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavat, the verse says. This is what that means. Okay, that everybody get nourished by serving the Supreme God. Nothing else can be done here. That is the reality, whether you like it or don't like it, whether you believe in socialism or whatever. But this is what it is. Okay, does it make sense?
Guruji, I have one more doubt.
Yes.
Actually, if we do a good deeds or good things, people says that we reach paradise, otherwise we reach to the Naraka.
Yes.
Paradise is termed as Vaikuntha. Am I right?
No, not at all. No. So basically, there is see this world, this universe. Okay, and there are many of them. The universe where we live in has 14 planetary systems. Okay, in Hindi it's called 14 Bhuvan. Okay, 14 Bhuvan. Okay, 14 planetary systems. Now they are like this. They start from top. So essentially, the topmost is where the Brahmaji lives. Okay, and then there are other levels, like the second one where the Siddhas, the great rishis lives. Right? I mean, something like that. They are called it like this. I mean, Satlok, like Brahmalok, Satlok, Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok, things like that. And then somewhere in between we live, I mean, which is called the Bhulok, okay, Mrityulok. And then below that there are many other things: Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal, Mahatal, Patal. Okay, those are the things which are below us. So essentially they totally are 14. Now there are, within that there is above us there is some place called Swarglok. Okay, and so it's just another thing within this world, in this material world. Okay, where Indra lives, and Indra is also a soul. All these devatas are also a soul, like us, but they are way bigger than us, way better than us, because they have done much pious deeds than us. So they are sitting there ruling. Okay, and below us also there are people, and in this world only there are those naraks also. But all of these are within this universe, and that's why they say that it's like a cycle, from this to that to like that, like you're stuck. So you're stuck in this cycle of going to, you did some pious thing, you go to this paradise or Swarg, then you did something bad and you go to Narak and things like that, and you keep on rotating like that. And you keep on rotating between different animals and plants and things like that, right? But out of this universe, there is something else. Okay, and that is out of this. And when I say those personalities, when I say Krishna, Ram, those personalities, they are outside, they exist outside. They just come here sometime, like Prime Minister can also come to a jail, right, sometime, but he doesn't become like a prisoner, like ordinary, like, like that. Like we're going to celebrate the birth of Krishna tomorrow, right? But he's the person who never took birth. Srimad Bhagavatam, when it talks about Krishna's birth, in that chapter, I think it's 10.3 in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, like, the unborn took the birth, like that. A person who has never taken the birth took the birth out of Devaki's womb, like that it says. So he comes in like a prime minister. Okay, so he doesn't become like a normal prisoner like us in this world, right? So he's not going to rotate in these things. Okay, he just comes in, he does some leela, and he goes back, like that. And they keep on doing this in all the universes. some point he'll go somewhere, someday he'll go somewhere, like that, just doing those leelas. Okay, that is the difference between we taking birth and God coming to this world. Right? He is not actually really taking birth. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so all of that is within this world. So the spirit soul, yeah, as I said, the spirit soul gets service by serving the Lord. Like, you know, all the joys for the spirit soul comes from serving the Lord, right? And not by, and they are like cooperator. I mean, like they both cooperate the with each other, and they are not competitor of God. I mean, like, you know, and it doesn't mean that God is the one. I mean, when I say service, don't think of it like, you know, you have to actually do some bad things for someone. It is really enjoyable. I mean, like, you know, it is as if a mother serves the child, as if a husband serves a wife. It is like that. Think of it like that, right? Because we get actually the pleasure we don't get through our iPhones and our laptops. The real pleasure comes from relationships. Okay, it comes by serving each other. That is the juice. That is, in Sanskrit, it is technically called as rasa. Okay, so those rasas are the one which nourishes us. Okay, and there are, in the spiritual world, people serve the God in different rasas. They're like Shanta ras, Dasya ras, Sakya ras, Madhurya ras, and things like that. Like, you know, those are the rasas to which they serve the God in different with different relationships. Okay, like a parent-child relationship, like a husband-wife relationship, like whatever, things like that, right? And that of course there is a service, but you don't realize that you are serving, and they both nourish each other. That's how the spiritual world is. Okay. All right. Yeah. So as I said,
one more thing,
the soul can be happy. Yes, please go ahead.
actually, I got to know that when I went through the story of Mahabharata, I got to know that Pandavas who led their life for the sake of others, who did their duty in an extreme way, have went to Swarga Lok, and in fact, this one Duryodhana also went to Swarga Lok, Kunti, I mean Gandhari and all. But don't they get the liberty to reach Krishna? Of course, not
Of course,
Duryodhana,
they
at
should.
least Arjuna.
So here is the thing: scriptures are revealed based on the ability to understand them. Okay, if you read the same story in Srimad Bhagavatam, you will see that they went to Goloka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the same Mahabharata story, same thing. Now, when it comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells you that, but when it comes in Mahabharata, it tells that they went to Swarga, because a person ability to comprehend also matters. Scriptures are very intelligent that way, right? So that's the only difference, nothing else. I mean, you know, just to tell you, I mean, if you understand it understand these Pandavas in the context of Srimad Bhagavatam or other scriptures, they were like real devotees. I mean, these are like, there are two types of souls. Okay, there is a soul called Nitya Siddha, and there is another type of soul which is called Sadhana Siddha. So souls who actually come down to this world. Okay, so not every soul come down to this world. Only few of them who actually were not like perfect, like, you know, who just had this desire, they come down, and by their sadhana, by their practice, they can go back, and they are called Sadhana Siddha souls. And then there are souls which are called Nitya Siddha souls. They are the ones like Hanuman's picture we saw. They are the souls who actually really cannot fall down. They were in this world, but they were not like us or Yashoda. Okay, they came to this world, but they were not like us. They come with God, just do their some leela, just to participate in that leela, and then they go back. Okay, so Arjuna or others were like that, who just came, did their leelas, and they went back. Okay, and they are called Nitya Siddha. Okay, that they're like eternally with God. They don't fall down like us. Okay, they just, I mean, in this universe or some other universe, it is like a dance party or a whatever, a party who go together, right? They do their drama and then they go somewhere else, like that. Okay, and why does God do all this drama? To be able to attract us. Okay, it's just a trailer of the movie. Let's see, I mean, if this trailer is so beautiful, how the real movie would be, right? That's all what it is. just to give pleasure. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad. Okay, and as I said, so essentially we are chasing this mirage, right? I mean, the happiness that we are trying to chase is in this reflection is not going to nourish us. That is not the real pleasure. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. All right, no questions. Good. Okay. Aarti ji, are you there? I don't see one camera. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Atikesh, are you there?
Yeah, probably.
I'll just. Okay. Wherever I don't see the camera, I'll just ask. You never know. No, in the virtual world is amazing that way. Okay, so I think this is going to be a revision, but it's okay. It's a good revision. But basically, how can you go back really? You can go back by aligning with God's plan. And we talked about some Srimad Bhagavatam verses also once, right? Which told that, look, what are the 4 principles of Dharma? And we talked about a match formula last time, right? Mercy, truthfulness, right? Austerity, and those things we talked about, right? And the holy name. So those things, if followed properly, and they get translated to something called as ABCDE. I mean, an easy formula to remember. And if we are able to align with that and with nature, then we can pretty much easily return to our original home. That's like a easy way to do it. And this is a yoga, and yoga means to add, to join, right? To be able to, if we are able to join ourselves with God somehow, then we can go back. And it's a easy. There are easy ways of doing that. It need not be a very complicated thing always, right? Now, how to align with God? Yeah, this is the ABCD, and we talked, right? Association, books, chanting, diet, and engagement, right? That it's a simple way to go out. Very simple, right? So what is association? I think we talked about it, right? I mean, if the people you associate with, that's how you become, right? There's a saying in English which says that, oh, you tell me the who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are, right? Like, just by looking at somebody's friend, you can tell how they are going to be, how they'll be. Like, for example, we are like, sitting here on a Sunday evening talking about these good things. Okay, I mean, if you keep on doing it, talking about nice scriptures, yes, we'll become good person. That doesn't takes a lot of second guess to figure it out, right? I mean, this is a story of these 2 parrots, right? They were like, parrots, twins or something. Their mother died, and they got sold. One parrot was sold to a butcher. The other parrot was sold to a saintly king, right? And many years passed. And then there was a person, a sage, kind of passing by, and he heard a lot of a parrot cursing bad words, right? And he heard that, and the parrot was like, I will kill you, this, that, whatever, all sort of bad things. And then the sage went to some other place beyond that, and he saw another parrot who was speaking the names of God, right? Ram, Krishna, like that. He was saying that, and this sage was bewildered. He was like, oh, these 2 parrots look similar actually. So this parrot said, see, that parrot is my brother only. Okay, but because unfortunately he got sold to that butcher, so this is what he learned from the butcher. While I was with the saintly king, and this king, every day in the morning he used to recite some nice verses from the scriptures and names of the God, and that's what I learned. And that's what happens, right, with us also, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have seen that that movie called Lion King, right? Where there was a lion. I don't know. Oh, you didn't saw? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's this small calf, whatever, that cub, right? And he just makes friendship with those. I don't know, I forgot what those creatures were, but they used to eat these things, right? Do you know
Vegetarian,
anybody?
grass and all, nuts and all, and the lion tends to eat that particular vegetarian food.
Not even vegetarian. They used to eat those insects also, right? Those some small
Yes.
insects and things like that. the lion started eating, and when he grew up, he also used to eat those same things, Hakuna Matata. And then basically they, right, and they were not able to, like, he lost that courage and everything because of that also, right? So that is what happens, right? I mean, it depends on whom you associate with, and you become like them, really, right? I mean, if you become a friends with the pigs, then of course you are going to eat stool, right? I mean, like, this in the leftmost, as you see, that is the Prahlad. I mean, Bhakt Prahlad, if you know, right? And when he actually, he was like 5 years of age, he used to collect all his friends, and he used to tell them about things that like, that's amazing. I mean, like Srimad Bhagavatam in the seventh canto, seventh book, seventh skand, if you read that, oh, amazing kind of interesting insights he used to talk, like a lot of things about God he used to tell his friends, and they all used to dance and sing and things like that, right? So if you are friends with such person, then of course you will become like them. And if you're a friend with somebody who's smoking and boozing and all sort of things, then you'll become like them. So association has a lot of good or bad impact on us, right? So we have to be really careful whom we choose in our life. And then, so the first principle is that we should associate with saintly people, okay, so that we in general become better, right? It doesn't take long, and we know all of that, right? Nothing complicated. And then comes the books, right? As we discussed once, right? That like in the authorized university, you go and read the right books. I mean, if you go to IIT, they will give you the right books so that you become an engineer. Similarly, in Parampara, there are authorized books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavat, or whatever it is, right? And we should read them in association so that we become better. I mean, we understand what these books are, and it's a simple thing. There is nothing complicated, right? The scripture should be right. We should understand. We should bring them in our life to make our life better, right? Yeah, but we have to choose the right word and that right book. And that right book can be taught in the parampara. In the right parampara, you get to know about right books. You read them and get perfection, right? And the third one is chanting, and we talked about it, right? Chanting is really a proven method. I mean, like, how much to tell you about it? Is a proven method to get the peace of mind, satisfaction, and happiness. I mean, the name of God is like in this world, actually, as I said, right? This is a world where most of the things are temporary. It is like a shadow, right? But there is some hope, because soul is permanent, and these names of gods are also permanent because they are God's name, right? And anything of God is permanent. That is the principle. I mean, I told you logically it can be proven that the names of God are permanent things in this world. So they have very amazing effect on us. I mean, if done, the effect is like amazing. I mean, so for example, as I said, right, the Dhruva, he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, and just by chanting that mantra, he actually achieved perfection, right? Valmiki, he used to chant Mara Mara Mara, and then he got became such a great sage. There's a hunter called Mrigari. It's a long story. I can go if you want, but basically he chanted Hare Krishna, and by chanting that, he actually became like a great sage. Okay, hippies, I think I told you that story, right? When Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, when he went to New York, there were hippies that he met. Okay, and to those hippies, he just taught them this mantra, and he said, like, you just start chanting, nothing else. And they started chanting, and a lot of them became sannyasis, and they left drugs and all sort of bad things. So this thing works. I mean, it's a common phenomenon. It doesn't work only in India, but it works everywhere. I mean, ISKCON has centers in Pakistan, in UAE, in whatever, China, and all over the place. And if you see them, those people are better Hindus than us. Maybe you will realize. I mean, that is what you will feel, because they follow Vedic tradition much strongly than us, really. And all of them, the lot of credit goes to chanting. Okay, this thing is very, very purifying. As I said, the verse, right, which we recite when we do any achman or any, it's called Shuddhikaran mantra. Basically, it is like, like this. Om apavitro pavitro va sarvavasthagato pisa yasmareta pundari kaksha sabayabhyantara shuchi. So what I think I explained once earlier in the past also, that this mantra means, like, whether you are pure or you are impure, in whichever state you may be, Okay. Yes, Maret Pundarikaksha. The person who actually remembers the lotus-eyed one, which is Vishnu or Krishna, Sabhaya Bhyantara Shuchi. That person can get purified from inside and outside. So that is the power of this mantra. So chanting, if done, can purify. Whether you understand it, you don't understand it, whatever it is. Okay. So sound, as I said, right? I mean, and we talked about this in our verses also. Like sound is the subtlest element. I mean, which can basically reach the subtlest thing called mind, right? And it can purify. I mean, like, right now we just get bombarded with so many TVs and movies and things like that. But actually, rather, if we bombard our mind with this pure thing, then basically it can purify the mind also. Let me know anything which doesn't make sense. But these are like simple spiritual formulas. It is not very complicated to follow. Okay. And open to any question, any thoughts. Okay, the next one is called diet. And diet is simple. The food that we eat actually produces three things. One is that it gets digested, turns into our blood, and it distributes into our body, right? This is as per Ayurveda. Second thing is that it turns into stool, urine, and gets flushed out of the body, right? And then there is the third thing, that it goes into brain and it produces our consciousness. Okay. So essentially, the type of food that we eat, it actually affects our consciousness, and this is a very interesting science. I mean, you can actually experience it yourself. I mean, there is a reason why we find a difference between the food that we eat from our mother's hand and which we eat in our restaurant, right? And that difference comes because the consciousness of the mother or the wife or some person who's cooking for you with love will be different than the person that is just selling the food. Okay, it is not going to be the same consciousness, and that consciousness affects us. Okay, so the ideal thing to do is, and the food are also in different gunas, and we talked about gunas in the past, right? The sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun, right? So and the effects are similar based on what kind of food you eating, what consciousness are you eating. So the right thing to do is that we offer the food to God, right, and cook it for God in a right consciousness, offer the food to him, and we take the prasad, and then we'll see the difference. You do it for some time, you will see the magic. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not a small thing. There is a lot of difference between normal food and prasad, and lot means lot, really. Okay, if this small practice is followed, you will see a lot of magic happening in your life. I'm telling you. I mean, unbelievable things I've heard from people and I've seen people. Okay, so it is a big deal. So diet, as I said, yeah, the spiritual food is called prasad, right? And it purifies our consciousness and creates a favorable situation. In the sattva gun, you are able to absorb good things in life. In the rajogun and tamogun, you just get frustrated, you feel crazy and things like that. But any thoughts on this so far? Anything which you don't agree with, anything you think is out of, like, doesn't seem logical. I'm ready to explain it. Okay. Yeah, these are simple principles. There is nothing rocket science. And the interesting thing is they are very sublime. I mean, like, they may sound simple, but they can take you as high as you can go. I mean, any great yogis sitting in the Himalayas and all that, after some time you'll be able to match them in terms of knowledge and devotion. I'm telling you, with these simple principles. It doesn't take a lot. Yeah, and the last one is called E. E is for engagement. And engagement, all of us are talented. We all have some or the other talent. Okay. Now, can we utilize some talent into God's pleasure? Now you would say, oh, come on. I mean, what about anybody? Like Atikesh could say that, oh, I don't have any talent, right? Then we'll talk about him also, because I'm like just studying. I mean, like, I'm a student. So then what should I do? But the point is, like, Arjun was a warrior, right? He fought for Krishna. Right? A squirrel, I don't know if you've heard this story. A squirrel also was helping Ram while building the bridge, right? And just by that small gesture, the squirrel could attract Lord Rama's grace, right? So similarly, the fruit vendor, I mean, it's a very nice story. I mean, Janmashtami is coming. If you read that verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a very wonderful verse, which tells about this story. It says that when Krishna actually got the rice for for the fruit seller, because there was a fruit seller who came and Krishna got some rice. I mean, fruit seller said, "See, I will give you fruits if you give me rice." So he got with his two hands. He picked up the rice. He came running. When he came running, most of the rice was it fell down, and with that small rice whatever he had, he gave it to fruit seller, and but fruit seller still gave the fruits, I mean all the fruits she gave. And when she opened her basket, it was like full of jewels and everything, right? And the essence of that verse, as explained in this book Srimad Bhagavatam, is that, see, whatever small thing we are able to do, okay, God just looks at our uh, availability. He doesn't look at our ability. I mean, how much you are able to do, it doesn't matter. Are you ready to do something? Even if you have small things to be done, even that is good enough. It doesn't matter, right? Even a small act of a squirrel can attract God's grace. That's all it needs, right? Uh, that is what it takes, nothing else. So, yeah. So essentially, okay. What it means is that a student who he can study for Krishna, right, and get good marks, even that is good enough. I mean, if you think that, okay, I cannot do anything, then even by studying, but you should be clear that, okay, I'm studying actually because, okay, I want to get a good job, I want to get good money, and with that money I will maybe one day give some donation, I will build a temple, I will do it for some nice things, right? If that is the intention, that intention, that study with that intention can actually is like a yoga. Only that much is good enough, right? A computer specialist, he can make, okay, what can a computer scientist do, a computer specialist do? He can make some posters, right? A singer can sing something, a cook can cook nice items, right, and offer it to God, and can distribute prasad. Okay, a decorator can decorate the temple hall or something like that, right? We have Janmashtami coming. All of us can do some small things, some small service. If nothing, we can, wherever we are, we can actually distribute some prasad. I mean, like, there are so many people who are outside. They may not have money. We think that we'll give them some charity, or rather than charity, let's cook some small prasad, offer it to God, and distribute it to them, right? That will help them and help us, right? It's a small service to God, because you would actually bring them closer to God that way, right? Or we can do so many things. I mean, like, we can celebrate nicely the Janmashtami at our house. We can do some good abhishek of God, Lord, and we can offer bhoga, we can do arti, whatever, variety of things, right? It's just about doing some small thing. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it can actually be, I mean, you will realize once you do it, you will realize, because you may be thinking that, okay, it's all, I don't know what Vipin is thinking. I don't know. Vipin, what are you thinking? Does it make sense, whatever I'm saying, or why should I do all of this?
Oh,
I mean, so for some time it was logical. Now you'll say, come on, it's going too much into something which I don't fancy. Or whatever, I don't know.
no, it is not like that.
What do you
Like,
think?
I have visited ISKCON temple, so I have seen a lot of people chanting, a lot of people singing songs. I used to wonder, like, what is the motivation, like, behind that? So I
Mhm.
understand that, like, the engagement, from the engagement, what they get is something which you can't explain, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah, it's difficult to explain. I mean, why would that
Yeah.
person who's so well educated is standing with a Bhagavad
Hmm.
Gita in his hand, trying to sell
Yeah.
that, and like people are laughing at him, things like that, right? There is something that he's getting out of it. His intentions are not to make money there, just to tell you, right? I mean, his intentions are that, okay, with my Bhagavad Gita, actually, I want to do something good to the society. The person who will read it, he may get benefited by it. And that is what he's passionate about. And that's why he's after me, right? He's not after you so that he can make those 100 rupees or something, right? So essentially, but what he'll get out of it is actually very difficult to explain. Hey, I'm getting a call. Just hold on, just a moment. Sorry about this. There is some. There must be is also closed. So lot of interesting things keep on happening. There was some urgent call. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. So any thought? Anything? I lost the train of thoughts. So you tell me what was going on. I'm just supposed to urgently send something to somebody, but while I'm doing it, feel free to shoot your questions if you have any. Sorry. Hello. Any questions? Okay. All good. Okay. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So then this is all what it means. It's a engagement is the E part of it, right? So we can do something small, and the intention is, of course, that by this service we can actually attract the God. And sorry, I'm just like just something very urgent came up for me. Just a second. Uh, just a second. I'll just SMS somebody. Yeah, but in the meantime, if you have anything, let me know, and I'll be happy to uh, answer that while I'm trying to do something, settle down something. Okay, done. All right, so that is pretty much about this session. And there is a poem, and we can leave this poem. So tell me, questions, thoughts, concerns, comments. Any thoughts? Anybody? RPG, Atikesh, people who are not on camera, I don't know. Okay.
Okay, I'm reading it.
So the poem?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then let me read the poem. Oh my Lord, true beauty. I don't know how to recite it. I mean, but I'll try. But I am so very naughty to forget your eternal loving service, to venture into thrills, turning into perils. In Maya's abode, nothing but a jail. So, okay, we came to this Maya's world, and we got stuck here. Skin deep material beauty. Skin deep meaning, like, it's just like the beauty is like skin deep only. Like you take out skin and it's all ugly things within this bag of of this thing. Right? Withers away quickly. It's nothing more than water in the mirage. O Lord, my true master, with such a sweet nature, our eternal relation is Satchidanand. Let me purify my heart and glorify my Lord with my body, mind, words, and soul. In times of despair and times of weather fear, I'll never leave your soothing shelter. Okay. He's saying, like, okay, I should go back. I should actually not leave God's shelter. Chanting your holy names, praising your divine fame, I'll bring all the suffering souls to thy feet. Okay. So he's saying, like, okay, I'll do some good things to the world of mirth and merry, free from any worry. I'll bring them into your holy company. So, okay, that's all what this poem says. I don't know if it made sense. My voice is also very sweet to be able to recite a poem like this. So I don't know. Bottom line, what's the question? Any questions? Yeah. Usually we have longer discussions with questions. I don't see. Yeah, some people are not there, so maybe the questions are not. Tell me if any of you have any questions. Okay. Yeah. So just to tell you, I mean, if there are no questions, just to tell you, is this is the second last session of Discover Yourself. Okay. So after this, there is going to be a last session. In the last session, we'll talk about if God is one, then why are there so many religions? That is the topic we'll cover next time. Okay, what is the need of having this thing? Like, why is it to confuse us? All this, right? That is the thing that we will talk about in the next session. So, but other than that, uh, uh, as I said, like, I'm open to discussion on anything in spirituality, pretty much. Right? Anything that you can think of under the sun, we can talk about it. Be it Hinduism or otherwise. I mean, there is no difference in spiritual understanding that way. It is just our understanding is not clear, and that's why we feel confused. But the essence is still the same. There is no difference, no deviation. And what we have is um, um, okay, what we have beyond that, we can keep on talking about any topic. Like, we have Bhagavad Gita sessions which are happening. You can join there, and we can talk about before that also. We can talk about some of the other topics like what is law of karma, and many other topics, right? I mean, just to give you a comfort, because in Bhagavad Gita classes that are happening, we are like, yeah, RPG, are you there, right?
Yeah, I'm very much here, but just like I told you, I'm a little distracted because of all the cleaning going around.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
supervising that as well.
Yeah, no issues on that. Don't worry about that. So yeah, uh, in fact, what I was thinking. Okay, here is the thing. I think Vipinji left because, anyways, he's not in Hyderabad. One thing I was thinking is, like, tomorrow we have a Janmashtami celebration. Do any of you want to join us? We are doing a celebration in Aparna Cyber Life. I know whoever is here is nearby. Up to you. I mean, there's no hard this thing. I know COVID is here, but yeah, we have a plan of 6 hours celebration. If any of you are interested, you can join us.
Sure.
So we
Can you
have
share the details, if possible, in the group or?
I will not share it in the. I don't know who all will be interested. I don't want to, like,
Okay,
force
right.
people. Yeah, force people. But I can share personally if any of you are interested, or all of you all of you I can share. Lot of families are coming. You can come with your family. I can give you the details, and uh, uh, we are planning to do interesting things. We have like cultural programs by kids, some drama, some dance, some talks and things like that. We have Abhishek, which is happening, and we have like 6, 70, 80 cooking items people are going to prepare. Maybe more. I have no idea how many, but a lot of them. And then we will offer. We will have Aarti and Kirtan and things like that. It will go from 6 in the evening to 12 in the night. But up to you. Whenever you want to drop off, it's also okay. That's fine. So just decide. I mean, if you think it makes sense.
It's, I would like to come along with my mother. She's 70 plus. So usually, in our hometown, we used to go to the temple at around 11 or something in the night.
Okay. Yeah, you can come. As I said, it's fine. Fine with me. I mean, I can
I'll
share
check
the
with her. I
details
have
with.
to check with her what time she, like, usually what she does is she fasts for the whole day and then does her whatever, like we'll have a
Yeah,
small.
so we, like, most of the people here will also be fasting, and the food, in fact, which will be like we will take also will be from sort of a fasting only. Okay.
If you could share the details in the personal chat and direct message, it would be good. I will then confirm with my mother and let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Fine. Anything else? Yeah. Does it make sense? RTG, do you think you want to come? I don't know. Up to you. Up to you people. I don't know. I know there is COVID, but just up to you people. Like, what do you think? And that's why I'm not forcing. I mean, I'm open. So, right. Anyways, what I will do is I will share the details with all three. Three, four. Atikesh is coming, I know, right? With his mother and
Yes.
everybody, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Prabhuji.
Okay, great. Yeah, for remaining, I think I will share nonetheless, and you can decide. Yeah, I think others also are coming from commune and all those places. Yeah, it's going to be a reasonable gathering, I think, this time. And we are going to do a lot of fun. That's what it sounds like. We'll see. We'll get to know how it turns out to be. So, okay, nonetheless. So, yeah, that's all I had pretty much. Other than that, and I will share the details. Yeah, if you're not able to make it, that's also fine.